Hey, welcome to my channel CA Raja Classes, and I'm planning to come out with accounting quiz series. In this session, we'll have 5 true or false questions on the topics trade discount, expenditure, inventory valuation, partnership, and company. So these are all the questions which were tested in some professional examinations, and by answering this true or false, we'll also get to understand various rational concepts behind that. Okay, let's get started. Question number 1. Trade discount is a reduction granted by supplier from the list price of goods or services on business consideration for prompt payment. So we have to state whether this is true or false. So what this statement says, if a discount is given by the supplier from the list price of the goods on business consideration for prompt payment. So what is the focus here? Prompt payment. That is, if the customer is making a prompt payment, and for that if the supplier is giving a discount, that is called as a trade discount. That's what this statement claims, but I am sorry. If a customer is given a discount for a prompt payment, we call that as a cash discount. Here what is happening? They are saying it is trade discount. So let's understand. Trade discount is a discount given to the customers for the reasons other than the prompt payment. Okay, so this statement is wrong. I'm calling it as false. Question 2. A Limited runs a cafe. It renovated some of the old cabins. Because of this renovation, some space was made free and number of cabins increased from 15 to 18. The total capital expenditure was 30,000 and was treated as revenue expenditure. So they have renovated, there's an increase in space, cabins increased from 15 to 18, and they've treated this as revenue expenditure. But what happened here? Because of this renovation, the space increased, and since they have 3 additional cabins, they can earn additional revenue in the future. It means this is resulting in additional future revenue earning capacity. Anything that gives future benefit, we say asset, and anything that is going to give future, or that is going to improve the future earning capacity, or that is going to give future earning capacity, that will be treated as capital asset. Okay, so look at this. Here this renovation increased the number of cabins, and this is having effect on future revenue generating capacity of business. So ideally this item should have been treated as capital expenditure, but they have treated as revenue expenditure. So this statement is false. Moving on to question 3. Valuation of inventory at cost or net realizable value, whichever is less, is based on principle of conservatism. Okay, to explain this, let me have a small working. So have a look at this. I'm going to capture the cost and net realizable value, and I'm going to have 2 scenarios. One is scenario 1, scenario 2. In scenario 1, the cost, let's say the figures in crores. Okay, figures are in crores. In scenario 1, cost of the inventory what I'm carrying is 10 crore. Okay, and its net realizable value, that is as at 31st March, if it is cleared off in the market, it is 8 crore. So what is happening now? I'm carrying an inventory purchased for 10 crore, but as at 31st March, if I dispose it off in the market, it can be sold only for 8 crore, but it was not yet sold. So I have not yet suffered this loss. But going by the accounting concept of prudence or accounting concept of conservatism, we have to provide for this. Because in the balance sheet, if I carry the inventory at 10 crore itself, despite knowing that its net realizable value has come down to 8 crore, am I not cheating the readers of the financial statement? Because there is a known loss of 2 crore. But it has not yet materialized. But if I dispose the stock in the market, it will go for 8 crore only. It means when I dispose, I will face a loss of 2 crore. So the concept of prudence or conservatism says that if you are anticipating a loss, provide for it. So when I see 8 crore and 10 crore, and when I'm sure that the net realizable value is 8 crore and cost is 10 crore, what I should do? I should value the inventory at 8 crore only, that is whichever is lower. So here, by valuing the inventory at 8 crore, I'm actually telling the readers of the financial statement that, hey look, my inventory is worth only 8 crore. Even though I have purchased for 10 crore, it is worth only at 8 crore. I have taken care of the loss. It means when you value it at 8 crore, automatically the loss is taken care. The loss will get captured in the financial statements. This is scenario 1. Let's have scenario 2. In scenario 2, let's say the cost is 10 crore, whereas net realizable value is 12 crore. Here, I have purchased the inventory worth 10 crore. But as at 31st March, net realizable value is 12 crore. Now I have a question. In balance sheet, should I capture these inventories at 10 crore or 12 crore? If I capture it at 12 crore, what is happening? I am actually recognizing the difference between these two. That is, what is the difference? 2 crore. But whether I have received this 2 crore? No. Because I have not yet sold the goods. The goods are still with me. So this concept of prudence, conservatism says, why do you want to recognize this unearned? Okay. You have not earned this 2 crore. So please don't recognize that, because it is possible when you clear this inventory in the market, you may not get the same 12 crore. Because by the time things could have get changed in the market. So as at 31st March it is 12 crore. Let's say by the time you try to push this off in the market in April, and unfortunately the value has come down to 9 crore. It means at the time you will be facing a loss of 1 crore. Okay. So concept of conservatism says, if you have not earned a revenue, please do not recognize it. So we are not going to recognize it at 12 crore. So what we do, we compare cost and net realizable value, whichever is lower. So here whichever is lower, 8 crore, and here whichever is lower, 10 crore. That's how it will be accounted, and this is because of concept of conservatism. Let's go back. Look at this. Conservatism principle says, do not account for anticipated profits. That is 12 minus 10, 2 crore, do not account. Provide for prospective losses. That is, we compared 10 and 8. There is a prospective loss of 2. So to provide for that, we valued inventory at 8 crore. Okay, that's what conservatism principle says. And because of that reason, this statement is correct. Next question. A partnership cannot own assets. Is that true? Whether partnership is a distinct legal entity? Is it an artificial person? So we get all these questions. Answer. Partnership is not a distinct legal entity, and because of that reason, partnership cannot own property. Then who will own the assets of partnership? Partners will own the assets of the firm. So we can say this statement is true. Question number 5. Since company has existence independent of its members, it continues to be in existence despite the death, insolvency or change of its members. We have to say whether it is true or false. That is, the point that is put forth here is the company will continue whether the members die or become insolvent or there is a change in members. Actually, there is a saying like men may come, men may go, company will go on forever. Why? Because company is an artificial person, distinct person in the eyes of law. That whatever be the changes that takes place on account of death, insolvency or change of members, company will continue to go because it's a distinct artificial person and existence is actually independent of its members. So company will be able to continue its operations despite the death or insolvency or change of its members. So this statement is
Hey
true.
there, a warm welcome to my channel CA Raja Classes, and I'm extremely happy for you for your thirst and search for knowledge. If you wish to take your learning journey in YouTube itself to the next level, I have an amazing opportunity for you. So this is my channel, and could you see this join button? Just click on this join button. It will open up something known as membership. Yes, you can become a member of our channel and you can have an exclusive learning opportunity. So what I got to offer for you, have a look at this. There are three memberships. One is banking lectures membership, two is finance lectures, and three is combination banking and finance lectures. This is an amazing opportunity for you. If you want to take your learning to the next level, join our membership program.